Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I did a video, I did a podcast episode with a videographer this time. His name is William Leung, and he is a videographer out here in Michigan. We mostly like work in Detroit, Southeast Michigan, and I just wanted to air that with you guys. Air, it's not on TV, but me and William talked about like a lot of cool things, like inspiration, and also like balancing work life as a parent and a business owner. And so, without further ado, I hope you enjoy this episode. I'm Jarrett, and this is Shadow and Light. All right, guys, I'm here with William Leung. William's career in videography started close to 10 years ago with a dream of working in filmmaking. He loves the personal storytelling aspect that weddings offer and the opportunity to tell a couple's unique story. William loves rock and roll. He's inspired by all types of music. He's both a coffee and a tea drinker, depending on the day. William's looking forward to another busy but more controlled year, exploring other business ventures, and he has his own podcast series as well. What's that called? Did you start that yet, or?
No, it's still in concoction at the moment, but I hope to get it up and running, and hopefully have you on my podcast too later this
Awesome,
year.
awesome, great news, and that's fun and
Yeah,
exciting. And then I guess last year was your busiest season yet, and you got to travel to Colombia for the wedding.
I did.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
did. Yeah, it was my first time out of the country for a wedding, and it was a mixed experience, good and bad to it, but for the most part, I took a lot of positive things away from it, and yeah, I just just add another notch to my wedding repertoire. So I love it. I hope to travel more, and hope to travel more outside the country too, to tell more adventurous type of weddings.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, that sounds so cool and
Mhm.
exciting. But yeah. And then I wanted to just jump in there. One of your biggest accomplishments this year was being a dad again. Is that? I don't think I'm following. Do you have two kids now?
I do have two kids.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, he was born in 2021, the tail end of 2021, and it just anytime you have kids, Jarrett, right? You
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
two as well, right? Anytime you have a kid, it kind of just brings you back down to earth, and um, it makes you feel more humble. It makes you feel more appreciative of mm, what I have and what I have on this earth and what I look forward to. And so, in a way, it's like a nice little mental and emotional readjustment anytime a big change like this happens. And then it's not just kids, it can be anything. It could be a new job or a new move, but specifically for me, last year it was a baby, and just adjusting to dad life times two. um yeah, so it was great. It definitely inspires me, because I'm you know going into this career now. It's not just about me, or you know what I want out of this. It's more about my family and what I can provide for them, but also influence and shape them growing up too. Um, so there's a lot of layers to it, but that was the sort of the biggest milestone, at least for me last year. It was just adjusting to being a dad again.
Absolutely. And that can be hard too. So it's like two full-time careers, so
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a balancing act, and I would say one influences the other for sure. I definitely want to do the best job that I can, so that you know I can inspire my boys, and let them see what I've been doing, and they inspire my work because I want to continue to keep pushing myself, personally and professionally too. So it's a
Yeah.
cool little like feedback loop for sure.
Yeah.
Feedback.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I
Mhm.
think that I think the balance is the hardest part, like you said. Just balancing like your work and personal life, and 'cause sometimes you just want to not work at all, and then sometimes you're working too
Yeah,
much, and you're like, dang, I need to take a break. But yeah,
for sure. For
cool.
sure. I think the biggest challenge for me at least was the balancing for sure, because for me specifically working in video, my days are always a little bit skewed. I'm spending like 40 to 50 hours during like sitting in a chair editing video. Um, and part of and I try not to get like, and I try not to let the personal feelings get to me, but there are days where I'm just like, I wish I was with my kid today, and what am I missing out in their lives at the moment?
Yeah.
Because with
No.
toddlers, they grow up so fast,
So
and you
fast.
know, they're never going to be that small again. So I do have like a little bit of that guilt, um, when it comes to the balancing act. But
Yeah.
I'm doing better. I'm trying to keep it more structured and more of a routine, more of like a 9 to 5 type of thing, just
Yeah.
so that
Once you set those work hours, you're good.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And then being our own, business owners, it's sort of like this double-edged sword where like we just work so much, and there's no one that's telling us to stop working, so we just keep working and working. It's sort of the thing that the good and bad to being a business owner is like there's never a stop time. There's never a call it a quit type of moment for us. So I'm trying to get better at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take a pause right there. I think your microphone is acting up a little bit. I don't know if you can unplug it and then replug the microphone itself in.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me again?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it
All
sounds a little
right.
bit better. Yeah.
Let me try this again.
Oh, you can't hear me now. Can you hear me? Oh, now I can't hear you. Oh no. We've ruined it. I can't hear you. Mm-mm. Oh, wait.
Well, that's my computer.
Oh, I can
Does
hear.
that sound better?
That sounds better. I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm wondering if I just should
Lu-
keep talking, Jared.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
This is better for you,
Yeah,
or
cause it's like this like half and half thing. Your microphone was like doing this weird reverb thing where it kept like creating like this background like noise that was like spiking. So
oh, okay,
so
I got.
although this doesn't sound as crisp, you also don't have that weird background noise. So it's a really hard. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what do you want to do?
Let's try
Do you want
this.
to try this? All right.
Yeah, unless you want to try to plug it in one more time. Is it like a USB type plug?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, give it one more shot. If it doesn't work, then we'll just go ahead and unplug it. Oh, you might have to reset the recording options, maybe. Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah.
Can you hear me?
No.
I can hear you. um, what if you plug your... How about you, like... Hold on. I'm gonna end the call and then start it again. What if you...
All right, Omar.
What if you leave the call and then come back?
All right. Or we'll switch back.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready to rock?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sweet. Once my table stops bouncing. Sounds cool. Sorry about that.
I hope you. You're probably gonna be doing a lot of cutting here.
No, you're good. I have a lot of audio difficulties. I've been having a lot of audio difficulties, like recording everything. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man. Do we need to do that over again?
I think we'll just try to work with it, and I'll try to like piece it together and mess with the sound. That'd just be easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah. So I did want to ask what I don't know if I asked this yet, but what got you into doing videos? I know you said you wanted to do like filmmaking and whatnot, but like what made you actually pick up that camera and start filming?
So like filmmaking has always been like my very first obsession. Even as like a kid, like, you know, we all have that first obsession growing up. For me, it's always movies, and like with English being my second language, like I grew up like learning Mandarin and Cantonese. So, you know, I didn't have, and then I lived in China for like 2.5 years, and then it came back. So I was like totally like this fish out of the water at age 5, learning about American culture. And I was just remember like watching movies and TV all the time as a kid. And you know, and that was sort of my way into the world, or learning about the world, my conduit, so to speak. And so just like early on, it was like this obsession, and then I got really into like just knowing like just movie trivia stuff. Like to this day, like that's my useless my useless skill, is like I know so much about movie trivia that it's crazy. So yeah, I was just like fascinated with movies. And then, you know, as I got older, I kind of thought about as a reality, could I do it for a living? And you know, when I got into even college, I would start doing like these short films with my friends, and really just kind of learning how to make a movie, how to shoot, learning about composition, learning about lighting, and you know, and then obviously the editing aspect of it. And then so then that kind of pushed my obsession even more. And then towards like the end of, or beginning of college, when I had to make a choice to pick a profession, or I'm sorry, a career, it was just like, and this was like maybe like in 2007, 2008, where like video isn't where it is now.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a risk in like choosing video at that time. Like, but I knew like that's what I love to do, and I could see myself doing it for the rest of my life. And whether like it was like successful or not, I just knew that it was something I would enjoy doing for a long time. So I invested in myself back then, and just kind of just studied it and just became obsessed with filmmaking, and learning how to make movies. And the actual goal was to go out to Hollywood and make movies, and you know, try to become this like movie director that of all these people I envied growing up. and then something happened along the way where like I couldn't quite get out there, so I was like trying to make trying to find jobs locally, and weddings just happened to be like one of the local jobs. And then I filmed it. I didn't love it initially, but I kind of loved the process and like being my own boss, so to speak. um, and it wasn't until like I started seeing some of these mm, uh, like some of these big name wedding filmmakers that were making like these cinematic films that were actually telling stories and making them look like movies,
Yeah.
where I was like, okay, this could be something. And that was like kind of the impetus of that thing. That's kind of what kickstarted like this whole career in wedding videography. And from there on, I was just like, I wanted to be the best, filmmaker that I could be in the wedding, specifically in the wedding industry.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty intricate. Wait, so I didn't know
Hmm.
that your first language is what is it, Mandarin you said? Or Cantonese?
Yeah, Mandarin, and Cantonese both
Okay.
growing up. Hmm.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
I
That's
don't, I don't know as much. I don't know as much now. Now that I learned so much English, I pushed out all this the
yeah.
Cantonese. But I do what I
It's
can.
like basic like things that kids would know.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Your basic swear words, your basic, just the stuff that can get you by.
Oh my gosh. That's cool though. Yeah. No. Um, a
Yeah,
long love for film. That's cool.
for
Uh,
sure, for sure.
so I did want to ask what's something that you kind of like pack in your bag that is not equipment, like that is not for filming.
Edibles. No, I'm just kidding. Just for the record, I if I do edibles, it would be after the shoot. It's never during the shoot. So let me just clarify that, everyone. Um, but if you can handle yourself, during the day, totally, that's more power to you. I know me specifically, I can't do that. Just I think it's kind of like a get in my head type of thing. Who knows? Like might miss an important event, and I don't want
Don't want to
to.
do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as things I pack in my, I mean, I would say, aspirin is always a good one, because you never know.
Same.
Ibuprofen. You never know how you're gonna feel in the day. You could feel great starting off, but then halfway through, maybe, maybe the bride's giving you bad vibes, and you're getting this headache or something, and just like it happens. So I would say that's probably number one. Um, what else? What else do I have? I have lens cloths. Um, so not only do I have all the information on my phone, like of the day, like timeline and everything, I also print it out too. So I print it out in paper, so then I can always like take it out and see it. It's a physical thing that I can hold on to and see, and know exactly how the timeline's going to unfold, or know exactly what I should be capturing for that specific event.
Yeah.
So I always have that going. What else? I would say mints or gum too, because it's a you're a professional, and you want to make sure that not only are you looking good, but you should be you know smelling good when you're talking to people too. So I always take a lot of pride in having some decent breath. So
Yeah.
um yeah, those are I would say those are my little just key things that I keep in there.
Yeah.
What else?
Aspirin, mints, and then that printed out timeline. I love it. Yeah, those are all really good stuff. I have all that stuff too, so I feel you.
And yeah, and edibles too, but that's for after hours, like I said. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I'm looking at my bag, and I don't think there's really anything outside of the ordinary, outside of the lenses. I'll carry like 3 to 4 different lenses with my bag. Um, but yeah, lens cloth is super important, just
Yeah.
because always want to make sure you clean it. Yeah, memory cards, batteries, I always keep in there. Yeah, this is all typical
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So,
That's the basics. Um,
mhm.
so is there something that inspires you, like to continue? I know you said your kids, but is there something that like inspires your work other than yeah,
Now that I've gotten into like year whatever, year 9, year 10, I feel like the pandemic year doesn't really count
yeah,
because we all took a year off there. But I would say now that I've kind of gotten, I'm more of like this veteran status. Lately, what's been inspiring me is like um, newer couples that were like um, siblings of older couples that I've done, or like
oh, that's kind of
you
fun.
know, yeah, and like like your friend that you like a mutual friend that you've known for a long time, and um, and now that they've gotten engaged like years later and they want you to be a part of their wedding, like that's a huge deal for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
um so it's kind of like this, and it makes me understand my self-worth and my value as a filmmaker and storyteller. So like that gives me a lot of inspiration to, because I feel like that I feel that I'm really appreciated and wanted. Not
yeah.
that I'm not for other ones, but there's more of a personal element when it's someone that you really know or someone that
You're part of the
you've already
family.
crossed paths with. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many layers to it. It's like they obviously appreciate the work and they appreciate um the rapport from back in the day from the older couple um that older couple thought so highly of me that they referred me to their sibling or whatnot. So there's a lot to it, and then for specific for me, it's about just not just delivering that expectation, but exceeding that expectation all the time. That's what I always try to do. Is like I try to always over deliver, um, and make that trust and commitment feel very warranted.
Yeah,
So for me lately, that's kind of like the most inspiring thing is being able to um, kind of live up to these expectations. And but of course, even if I don't, if it's a new couple too, it's like cool. They've seen all my work. They've seen my library of videos, and just the fact that they're like, yeah, I love this is my style, this is my work, we want to learn more about you.
yeah,
um like that gives me so much more, and motivation
yeah,
to to collaborate and do like to the best story that I can for them. Um so yeah, I would say it's always boils down to couples. It used to be venues, like I had this like bucket list of venues that I've always wanted to, like, oh, I wanted to go here and here because I haven't been there. And now it's like, yeah, the venues are cool, but I think at the end of the day, like I really want to make sure I tell an organic, unique story.
yeah,
One that's true to the couple and one that's just authentic, and an accurate representation of who they are as people, and on their most important day. And I try to look at the big picture too. Is like when they watch these videos years from now, 20, 50 years from now, I want them to feel that energy
yeah,
of who they are, of who they were, or hopefully still are. But telling the story, and when I look at it from that point of view, it's bigger than just the venue, or it's bigger than just like the wedding dress. It's bigger than just like all these little details that people feel like are so important on the wedding day.
yeah,
Um, for me specifically, because I am the storyteller, it's more so about the interactions, the energy, the vibes, the emotions. So I'm always trying to key in on those type of things on the wedding day. And that's, with every wedding being so different and unique, like that's what kind of like inspires me to look out for those things and tell a new authentic story each time.
yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, also feel like that's kind of inspiring to me as well, is to tell those stories of people, you know, who are coming together and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I agree. Um,
yeah. What
it's
else? What else inspires you?
what else inspires me?
Yeah,
It's a you hit the reverse card on me.
yeah, I did.
Yeah, so no, I really enjoy I've been writing blogs lately, and it's been about something similar about that. Like I've been doing weddings of like people I had done weddings for in the past, like not them getting remarried, but like their siblings. um and yeah, that's inspiring. Like yeah, like telling the stories, because I'm a huge romantic myself, and so telling those stories is kind of, you know, kind of inspires me to keep telling them, you know. um
Mhm.
because like, I don't know if I should say this in my own podcast, but sometimes I'm questionable. I'm like, I don't know, guys. But uh but I really enjoy when a couple is like super into each other, and the wedding's just so nice, and you know, it's about them more so than about like, I don't know, I think some people like make a wedding about a wedding rather than about them, and I'd rather it be about them and telling their story. So that's what inspires
Sweet.
me to continue doing weddings, you know?
Good
So
stuff. Good stuff, man. That's great. That's great. Yeah, and it constantly evolves too. I feel like, you know, the more you do it, the more different motivations come into play. And I think it's always important to kind of check yourself each year and just be like, okay, where's my headspace at? Um, how am I feeling about all this? Um, and am I going into this all for the right, authentic reasons? So I always try to do that too, just because, like, you know, we chose this job. It wasn't like forced upon us. Like, we could do any job in the world. So if we're choosing this job and, you know, built it from the ground up, like, we should always make sure that we're doing it for our own reasons, for the reasons that make us, um, that motivate us and bring us joy. So, and if it's not bringing you joy, or if it's not motivating you, then that's something, you'll have to kind of like, figure out yourself. But
agreed.
that's always the key, is just to make sure that you're heading in the right direction all the time,
Yeah,
and that, you're not bringing like any sort of, questionable vibes into what
correct.
you're doing.
Yeah. No,
So,
I agree.
good stuff, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah, I'm the same way. So we're on the same page as far as like, what motivates us and what keeps us going here.
I think it's all those years of doing it. It's like so many
Mhm.
years of doing it. So are there any like other photographers or videographers that kind of like inspired your like influenced your work, or like maybe not influenced your work, but that you really like enjoy?
For sure, for sure. Like, one of my good friends is Timothy Scott, and he's got his own company, Timothy Scott Films, and I look up to him, and I know, I helped shape him as when he first got into this business too. So we always got each other's back. We'll second shoot for each other if we're ever in a pickle as well. So I
Nice.
look up to him highly, and we started off like the same time, working for these other companies, and then we evolved to building our own companies. So, yeah, he's always a good dude, and I just always appreciate his work and how his work has evolved too over time. So he's
Yeah.
good stuff.
So you guys are riffing off each other. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then, just, local dudes like Adam Luger is one of my good friends too. He owns Blue Racer Productions. He's, he does great work as well, inspires me, and just, his ability to kind of, I'm more impressed with how he's able to, like, micromanage like everything.
Does he have a bunch of people
he's
shooting under him?
I think he does, but like, he's very efficient. He's
Okay.
just got a routine and he sticks with it, and he's just manages every aspect of like everything that he shoots, every client, like all the things a small business owner typically does. He does it to a really really good really good level. So I'm impressed by that. I'm always try to pick his brain about how he approaches like, the management aspect after the loading. Um, so he's awesome when it comes to stuff like that. And as far as like nationally, like I don't know, there's big names. White Reverie is always a big one. I've always looked up to them. Penn Weddings, I went to their workshop years ago and I learned quite a bit from them as well. Um, uh, Henry Martins is a good one too. I believe he's there's so much out there. But also, I think what I realized too is like that's good for inspiration. Like when you have these people that you can look up to, but at the end of the day, like I just want to make sure that I'm always staying true to myself and
Correct.
That old expression like comparison is like the thief of joy. So I try to just stick to what I know best and evolve in my own sort of lane, so that I'm constantly getting better at my own pace and my own speed. And sometimes there's always going to be like a cool video out there that's got like new effects or a new style of editing and stuff, and that's cool too. But at the end of the day, what's best for your own brand and your style and what you're most comfortable with. And I would just, I strongly encourage that, stick to that, stick to like building your own thing, and just growing your own organic way.
Yeah.
Because everyone's lane is different. Everyone's speed is completely different. And I fell victim in trying to get caught up with like what other people are doing that it kind of influenced like, put a detriment to my own progress. So I learned the hard way. I learned through lots of trial and tribulation that, at the end of the day, it's really about where I am and where I'm going. And if I can get a little better each time, each year, each wedding that I'm doing, then that's the key. It's just my own personal growth that's most important to me.
Agreed. Yeah, and I agree with that. I actually sometimes will find a page that I really like and I won't follow it because I'm like, it's too nice. I'll look at some of these, like some of these. I might save some of the photos, but I can't have them popping up in my feed constantly.
Yeah, totally.
So I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I get it too. Like, I get it. Yeah, like this, unfollowing people. But I think I just have, and it's building my own confidence and knowing that I know what I'm capable of and not really worrying about like what other people are doing, because who knows, those other people might be like looking at other people too, like, oh, I'm not.
Oh yeah,
so
they're definitely doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have some things like some universal truths that I've subscribed to, and one of them is always like never compare, never judge, never assume, about this other person because they're an entirely different human being than you are. They have their own different challenges and unique makeup. So rather than like invest time in thinking what this other person is doing or thinking, I rather just invest that valuable time into my own personal and professional growth.
Oh, correct. Yeah,
for sure, man.
Cool. Yeah, this is a very Zen way of thinking. I like it.
Try to be. I try to bring some of my Zen philosophy into all aspects of my business.
Yeah, and
done well for me.
Also, I don't think we said it, but heart and soul, right?
Heart and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that was Bodhi Tree Films.
Yeah.
I almost felt like that was way too Zen.
It was too Zen.
It was too Zen, especially for the wedding industry. I wanted it to be a little more, just a little, kind of take it down a few notches, with heart and soul, And then that way, like, and it made more sense that way because, I would just. It's so strange because like every wedding you'll hear someone like say heart and soul, and I'm like, God, hey, that would be a cool name for video. So that started catching on, and then I realized like, okay, the reason I'm doing this is because I love this so much and it's my passion, and I know that if I put in all my hard work and effort into making a good quality product, it's always going to be great. So hence the putting in the heart and soul into each product, into each process. Um, and yeah, I can achieve that every single time. Then it's going to be good. It's going to be a good quality product at the very end. And I feel like if I explain that to my couples, they get it too. So we're all on the same page. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of made that front and center as far as the name goes.
Cool. Yeah. No, I really enjoyed it when, because I've known you since you had Bodhi Tree, and so when you switched it over, I was like, that's pretty cool. Actually,
Yeah.
why didn't I think? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I guess I want to ask you. What?
Well, before we go on, tell me. So, Alice Hart. I
Oh
guess
no!
I've talked to you about this before.
Oh no!
And I think you, from what I recall, you said that it just. Maybe I'm paraphrasing here, but like you said, it just sounded nice, so you stuck with it. Like, is there a story behind Alice Hart?
No, it's honestly that. So it sounded nice, so
Okay.
that's what I chose. But essentially, I just didn't want to put it as my own name, and the reason behind that is because well, it's funny because my entire business model has changed since then. But once you put a name down, it's really hard to like rebrand.
Yeah.
So as you know, and so I didn't want it to be my own name because I worked for a company, and every time they would call for him, even though he only did like there was like two other people who shot more weddings than he did, and just because he like wanted to take a step back because it was a company that had like 8 photographers that worked for it, and so they would always call for him, and it's like they didn't even look at the work. They just like, that's who we want the owner, and so I knew that I would have a similar business model, and I just didn't want to have that same thing. In retrospect, it made no sense because now people are like, hey, is Alice there?
Yeah,
But
I get that.
I already did it, it already happened. I can't really like take it back now, so I'd have to rebrand. So
yeah, that's funny. I wasn't sure if like you named it after like your kid or something, or
yeah.
Or it would have been really funny if you named your kid after your your brand.
I almost did, but then I was like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get it. That's
Yeah.
cool, man. It works, man. And now it's gotten to a point where like there's no like when we think of Alice Hart, there's really not even like a thought behind it. We just know that it's associated with you.
Yeah.
And your brand. So that's kind of like the level we want to get to whenever we come up with these these brand names outside of our own names.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's been a journey, and explaining that sometimes is kind of funny, but
That's cool though.
Yeah, it was better than like shutter photography or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. No, I dig it. It's a good story. I mean, there's no story, but it is a good story. It's one of those. It's one of those things.
Yeah, cool. So I am gonna probably wrap this up here soon, but I did want to ask you first, if you could help anyone out there who is interested in doing video, what's some like tips that you would give them to help them like progress in their career?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say don't. So like, there's just this general assumption that when you get into video, you have to get like the best gear, or like you have to have a gimbal, you have to have all this gear that the video world pushes upon you. But honestly, like the thing I learned, like, gear is always changing. Gear is always evolving.
Yeah.
So, but your style, you as a person, as an artist, like that's always going to be you. So always work on that first and foremost. So take any gear, take like whatever, like an old video recorder or something, and just start shooting. I think that's the best thing to go about. Like obviously with YouTube, there's so many tutorials out there in terms of like um, how to shoot, how to shoot specifically weddings, or how to understand composition and lighting and all this stuff. So YouTube is a big aspect when it comes to the educational part of it. And then like once you kind of learn, once you get a little bit of that, like go out there and explore and experiment. Not, you don't even have to do weddings per se, but like just go out there and like tell like a story, like a very short story, and like understand understand how images relay story, and how you connect it, build a narrative through your imagery. Like that's the most important part, because at the end of the day, we're all like, video is always about telling one specific story.
Yeah.
So it's always at its core, um, so like understanding how story works and the narrative elements are always going to be key. So I would say first and foremost, learn how to do that, how to just tell a real basic story, and then once you start doing that, then you'll start to find a little bit of like that momentum and some of that drive and that the energy, and then you can just expand more and more. And that's kind of like the life of an artist or someone in the art world, where you just constantly are doing more and more each time. So so I would say just go out, learn a little bit, but also just explore, and experiment. And also it helps to maybe have like, seek out a mentor, outside of just YouTube. Seek out a mentor, someone who's done it for a while. That was huge for me growing up in this industry. Like I found some mentors, and who are who are so willing to help and offer their insight. And generally, I think the wedding industry, it's like, at least in here in Michigan or the Midwest, it's like everyone seems to be pretty like friendly. Like we're all helping each other out. It's not as competitive as it is in like the West Coast or other populated cities. So that's one thing that I really appreciated, is like, all the people that kind of helped and shaped me into who I am today. They're very instrumental in giving me great tips from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an eagerness to learn, and learn from your mistakes too. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but we learn from like the mistakes that we go through, or the challenges we go through. So yeah, if video is your thing, like dive right into it, and just have fun, and don't worry so much about the mistakes or having the latest gear. Just focus on harnessing like what makes you unique, and why you love it, and keep on cultivating those two things going forward. So outside than that, I think that's probably it. Those are the big three. Those are the big tips I would offer anyone that's looking to get into video, and specifically wedding videography.
Yeah. No, that was some important information, and I think that I think my take from that was at the beginning, that storyboarding process is like just like trying to tell that story, whatever you can do to make sure you're like telling the true story, and like following, kind of leading the viewer into that path a little bit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, and just to provide like a quick like summary of where I started. Like I began all this in my mom's basement, like with a small laptop and a really shitty like camcorder at the time. There was nothing special, but I knew that I had an interest in doing it. I knew that this is something I could see long term continue and grow and evolve in doing. And so that was sort of my whole motivation from the very beginning, was like I can get better and better at this, to the point where like money's not always a thing, but at least for me, the very beginning, I was like, I was charging just whatever. I was pretty much giving stuff for free in the very beginning, but I had my sights on saying, I had my sights on like the four grand mark. Like that's kind of like the benchmark where I knew if I could achieve starting at 4 grand, I'm doing pretty well for myself. So
Yeah,
keep in mind, I
absolutely.
started at $500. So so it was just constantly like, okay, that was my mission, that was sort of like the goal. um and then I think over the course of maybe 3 or 4 years I ended up getting to that point, but it was always in the back of my mind because I was like, okay, if I reached that point, it would tell me that financially I'm in an okay place.
Yeah.
Professionally I'm successful. Three, like the quality of work is going to be where it needs to be. So yeah, it was 4 grand, but it was like all these other things that came with being 4 grand that kind of you know I had my sights on, which naturally you evolve as you are sort of getting to that point.
Yeah.
Um, so um, so it was just constantly like that, and then yeah, like big tip is like you're gonna start probably giving stuff for free, getting a demo reel. And then what I ended up doing was, let's say, for instance, like I shoot a wedding video for $500. Well, then I would make that wedding video look like $1,000 at when I put it all out there. So then I double its value. So then I'm charging the next couple. I would show them that video and be like, well, yeah, here's $1,000 video. And so that I would just kind of grow and grow. And then when that $1,000 video, I make it look like $2,000. So it's always about that extra, it's about the extra hard work that you're putting into it. Don't just do like the bare minimum. Really get into like, how do I really make this more? I talked about this earlier, like over deliver type of approach.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how I organically grew over time. And then with like every maybe 3 or 4 weddings, I would bump up my price by like two or about $300, $400, something like that, until I got to a point where I was comfortable between the 4 and 5K mark. So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, it's gonna take time. It's definitely gonna take time, and and I think be patient and really just trusting your intuition. Um, Building your confidence is always going to be key, and um, just know that a lot of people that got your back, and if you're a good team player and you're just a really like awesome person, like people are going to champion you, and people are going to support you and refer to you. So like personality is always important too. So even if you're not the most like outgoing extroverted person, when you oh yeah. Okay. But like when you're out there, when you're out there and you're on the job, you got to turn it on. Like you kind of have to hit a switch, and that takes practice too.
Yeah.
That takes practice. How do you be a people person? How do you communicate with people, with the bride and groom, like all these things that really go into it. So yeah, like that's something that's always going to be a part of the wedding industry too, is like how relatable you are, how affable you are as a person, presentable you are as a person, and on top of the work you're doing. So there's so many different aspects to it, and for people that are just new video people listening to this, this might like turn you off, but this is kind of what you need to do to be like successful, especially doing video in this industry.
Unfortunately, and actually, unfortunately and fortunately, because it's gonna help you grow as a person too. So
I agree with that.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Stay humble, and also just stay hungry at the same time too.
Exactly.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Great stuff, Jarrett.
So yeah, so William, it was awesome chatting with you. But I did want to drop in your socials. So like, where can we find you, and like, website and yeah.
Yeah. So my website is heartsoulfilms.com, and from there you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and all, pretty much all the stuff there. I'm gonna build a TikTok site too, so or site. So I'm gonna build a TikTok profile at some point here too, because
It's all video.
it's all video. Yeah, it's all video for sure. So I have to take advantage of that. Go where the people are, basically.
Honestly.
So, yeah.
So
honestly.
I did want to ask you real quick too. Do you have a YouTube with your videos, or is it all hosted somewhere else?
It's all on Vimeo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. This year I feel like I'm gonna do a huge makeover in terms of like sort of like this next evolution of my business. So like I talked about the podcasting earlier, so that's going to be one avenue, but also getting into YouTube and, like I said, TikTok and all these other things that can continue to kind of expand my reach. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot in store this year, and I'm looking forward to keep pushing myself in all these areas.
That's awesome, and I can't wait to see like all of the cool stuff that you start doing, and I'm excited to see that first episode, which is probably gonna be just like my first episode where I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
Dude, I'm so proud of you, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
When I heard you were doing this, I was like, cool, man, this is great. Because I had the idea of doing something too, but now seeing you doing it and actually putting it into implementing it and really pushing, it's a really cool sight to see. And you're gonna continue to grow too. You're gonna figure out, you're gonna learn from your mistakes, and kind of like what we've already been talking about. It's a natural path for you as you keep evolving in this podcast world. So
yeah,
awesome. I'm really proud of you, man, and
Thank you.
hope to learn more from you as well as you keep getting.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate. Okay, cool. I'll call it a day, a night. But awesome chatting with you again, and
for sure, man.
Yeah. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Love to have you back on mine at some point. But if you ever want to just shoot the shit again, man, I'm always here for you. So
sounds perfect.
I'll be your go-to video guy. How about that? If you ever need inside out video.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I love that. Cool.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, man.